What are the steps? We need to first install SASS. So after installing the SASS, where you have to do, you have to make sure create .scss file. In that SCSS file, after that, go to the location where you created that SCSS file. You have to go to the location where SCSS file is there. There, what you have to do, we have to write SASS, and what is it? The old name, the SASS file name, fx.scss and fx.css. That's what we have to do. You done that, Rohit? Have you checked in that SASS file? There are no errors. There should not be any errors. Then why it will not compile? It should compile, right? Yes.
Sir, please share the screen.
Why you share the screen? You tell me all these are correct? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If any mistake is there, then what
No,
should
sir.
I do?
No,
Huh?
no, sir. Not.
And without mistake, they will not work. Huh?
Sir,
share your screen. I will see.
Yeah. The open the yeah. Or says yeah, sir. We can
Come
go.
on, man. Use your general common sense. I told you already, don't try anything in PowerShell. You are still trying in PowerShell. Don't waste the time. What I told you already.
Sir.
I told you not to run anything in PowerShell. Use command prompt.
We can go open the terminal.
Mr. Genius, I told you that you have to run in command prompt, not in PowerShell. You know the difference between PowerShell and command prompt? We discussed it so many days. You are running in PowerShell currently. PS is PowerShell, na?
Yeah.
Where you have to run command prompt. Choose the command prompt from the terminal location.
Okay, sir.
Already we learned that, right? And yesterday I clearly told you that don't run in PowerShell. Again, you are running in PowerShell. Huh? Okay. You don't know how to change the PowerShell to command prompt?
Yes, sir. Command prompt. Okay, thank you, sir.
There change to that location. CD SASS folder.
CD SASS. Okay, sir.
No need to explain these things again and again every day, right? Because already so many times, yesterday also, you cannot run these in PowerShell, use command prompt. Everything is fine, but not working. If everything is fine, why it will not work? You follow everything what I exactly told you, right? So where to run this command? You have to run this command in command prompt. This is not the first day. Every day we learned that the from command prompt, not PowerShell. Any bootstrap icons, anything we installed from no PowerShell. Everything we have to run from command prompt. How to set the default command prompt, you know, na? That part also I explained. How to set command prompt as default. To set the command prompt as default, what we have to do, open the terminal, and in the terminal, you have to click the plus button right side you are having, right? There you have to select default profile. And in that default profile, At the top, you will see command prompt. Choose that command prompt. After that, terminal, and it will open in command prompt. And don't use PowerShell. It will not work, right? This is not first time. Every library we done in the same way, right? For rest of others, able to install it successfully, right? Able to install successfully. Is it working fine? Comparing the executing, right? Next, we discussed about how to use variables. Next, in SASS, so we have to learn about SASS functions. We have to learn about SASS functions. Technically, what are SASS functions and how to use them? Actually, SASS functions, we have one is functions are written like this: at the net if, and we have else, and we have the functions like for. So later in JavaScript programming and all, you will learn more about them. As of now, the basic SASS functions, we have if, we have else, we have for. What is if is actually, if if is nothing but it is used in decision making. It is used in decision making. So it executes a set of statements when condition, when given condition is true. When given condition is true. And what else will do is, it is used as a clause for if. Used as a clause for if. Clause means it is an alternative. That means it executes a set of statements when given condition is false. When given condition is false. Some statements when condition is true, some statements when condition is false. Generally, we write like this. We write at the net if and condition, and we write some effects, and we write else, and we write some effects. So if condition is matching, it will apply these effects. If condition not matching, it will apply these effects. That means you can keep, this is actually simple decision. Simple decision. In simple decision, one set of statements when condition true, another set of statements when condition is false. What is the advantage is, you have ready made some blocks of code. Out of that, which block is suitable for that situation, it will select. That is good. We can write multiple decisions. Multiple decisions means we can write like this. We can say multiple decisions. Multiple decisions, we can write like this. At the net if, we have condition, and we have to write else if, again condition, and we can write again else if, another condition. That means if the first condition matching, it will execute it. If not matching, second condition. Condition matching, it will execute. Third condition matching, it will execute. If all are not matching, else. If the conditions all not matching, then else. This will execute. Remember, don't compare this with any other languages you know. that is different, this is different. Here only certain limitations are there for SAS. We have to use only that. Later when you learn JavaScript, you will learn so much about if and else, how to use. As of now, this is how we write the decisions. So we have the if and else for that. Let's see how to use it. Actually, first step here, let's go to effects. Now here we have this HTML file. In that we are using the CSS. We have a container, we have a paragraph, we have a heading and paragraph. Now let's go here. We will put here uh, a dollar theme color. Theme color I am giving as some red. So theme color is a variable. In that there is a value called red. Here we are writing the condition. Remember, if theme color is red or green or blue, according to that, entire appearance should work. That means what I am doing here is, so I will write a condition. If here at the net, if, yeah, at the net, if expression we have to write like this. If dollar theme, dollar theme color, if theme color is equal to what is the color name, is equal to red. If it is equal to red, what should happen? What should happen is container should contain box shadow 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, and light red color shadow. That means red color shadow should be there, light color. Container shadow must be light red color, and container should have padding as 10 or 20 pixel. And one more important here is we need to do is, yeah, here we need to put one more is inside the container heading. Inside the heading, color should be red, but this color we will put little bit dark red like this. And we will put paragraph color. So color we will put red, some light red we will give. And so all red shades only we will give. All red shades only we will give. And one more option is, so the background color here, headings all defined. Okay. This is if it is red. Now we will write another condition. That means else what should happen? That means if we write multiple means you can write at the net else if, else if. Else if another condition, if theme color, dollar theme color is dollar theme color. Dollar theme color is some green. If it is green, then all these must be changed to green. So that means I will copy that and paste here. We will change this to green color. We will change that to green color. So box shadow green color. And here text color will be green, some dark green. And here also it will be green, something like this. We will display like this. That means now what we are doing is we are applying which one it will decide according to situation. That means it will not put both effects. It will put only what is required for situation. Later in JavaScript, you will learn, you can ask which theme you want. Then user will select one theme. According to that theme, we will send the effects that we can manage by using JavaScript. So as of now, we need to keep the themes ready. Which theme he wants, that theme we will apply. Currently, what is the theme? Red. Then automatically you see now we will compile this here. We'll compile this SASS. So effects dot SCSS dot CSS and enter. It is compiled successfully. Now once see the HTML page. In the HTML page, it will use the red theme for all of them. It will use the red theme for all of them. We can use borders and all anything. I just given few things. See now immediately here one more point is, let's go to the CSS file. In the CSS file you will observe that only red related logic is created. Only red related logic is created. But later what happens, I go here, I change this color as green. That means theme color is green. Okay, I will run that one more time. Automatically now the page will be green theme. That means you are having all effects ready made. You just ask what he wants and we will send that CSS. This we can dynamically control with JavaScript combinations. That is the reason these are very important. That means we will not write the theme colors and apply. We will keep everything ready. Whatever he wants, he will choose. According to that, these effects will apply. So that means decision making. Decision making means it allows to identify what user wants. According to that, it can apply the effects. Not only that, suppose, see, here conditions can be written in several ways. For example, see here, suppose I am defining another option is border size. Border size I given as border size as 20 pixel. Border size 20 pixel. If I given border size 20 pixel, then we can take decisions. According to that, we can apply. For example, see, I will write one more set of condition here. At the net, if this time, depending on border size, that means we will access border size. If border size is greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, suppose 15. Border size is greater than or equal to 15. What should happen? If border size is given as more than 15, then for container, we will apply border, and border size will come from how much? It will come from border size. Border size, so minus suppose 10. Later we will learn operations and all. For example, I will not take complex into operations as of now. Suppose I am just giving border size and solid, and we will put some color. So just I will put some black color. So that is the standard color we are configuring. That means if border size is more than 15, then the border size will be applied to container. Border size is applied to container. It is okay. That is fine. But observe carefully what happens now is, now for paragraphs, headings, others, here we have heading. For heading, what we will do is, here heading also we will keep border. Border as we are defining border as dollar border size minus 10. So, and we keep as solid, so red color or black color border, like that we are defining. Observe careful, just run this and see what will happen. So you see, go to the CSS file. Now see the borders, it will be 20 pixel and it will be 10 pixel. That means minus 10 means how much you given in that minus 10. It will take minus 10. That means if outside border is large, I want inside border half. Then what we will do? We will use minus 10. So uh, depending on how much they given, that means now it is going to apply such effects here. That means outside border, inside border is less than outside border. Automatically the border size will be changing. Suppose you see this is the effect it applied. If it is greater than 15, this will apply. If not greater than 15, what should happen? We will use else. Else what should happen? The container border, so container border will be just only 1 pixel, 2 pixel I will give, and solid, and we will put black. This is else. And what we will do, we will not put any border for heading. For heading border I will keep as none. That means you see now here, if border size is 15, currently here border size is 20. Suppose I given border size as 10. I given border size as 10. That means what will happen? If border size as 10, it is going to define here. Oh, solid, okay, yeah. Now border size is 10 and you apply here. Now you see the border is there only for that. Heading not having border because 10 minus 10, minus 10 we given. That means it will be 0. Border will not be there. For example, I given here the border size as 15. If I give border size 15, then automatically you can see it will get border. And depending on how much you are giving, the size of parent and size of child will be adjusting. Suppose I given border size as suppose how much comparison we are doing here, 15 only na. Suppose it is 19, then what will happen? According to that it will change the parent and inner. Suppose if border size is less than 15, that means I given 12, then what it will do? It will not apply border for inside contents, it will put normal. That means conditions are used to change the effects according to situation. So what is advantage is our developer will keep all the conditions ready, and just we would need to ask the user what he wants. And when user selects, according to that we will send the CSS. So writing all the CSS and keeping ready and rendering only the CSS needed for the situation is very good. That means we are not writing the effects at the time when user asked. We are readily having the effects. We are asking him the situation. According to his situation, we are sending effects. That means generally what people do for this is they directly create effects dynamically. When user selects green, then they will now design green theme. By using JavaScript, jQuery, we design themes, we design colors. But you don't need to do that now. You keep everything ready. When user selects, you can send them. Earlier, what we have to do, without this, what people have to do, they have to create effects dynamically. We can create effects dynamically and apply effects dynamically. For that, you need to learn JavaScript. Later, I will show you in JavaScript how to create effects dynamically and apply to page. But here we are not creating dynamically. We are keeping all ready, and according to situation, we are changing. So decision making is very important. If you learn JavaScript, you can do more better with this. That is the reason actually we teach this after learning any programming. But initially, along with CSS, if you learn in JavaScript, you can do more better. That is the reason I am giving you idea of this. So decision making is done by using this concept, right? This is an example for it. Let me paste this example. In this we are using, a simple if and else. If and else. Now another option is for. Actually, for is used as an iteration. Generally, for is used as an iteration. Technically, what is the concept of for is for? So it configures a loop or iterator. Both we will discuss in scenario. Iterator. Generally, loop executes set of statements repeatedly until until the condition is satisfied until the condition is satisfied. That means, so with a set of logic with a set of logic you can perform batch operations. What does that means? I will show you. With a set of logic we can do batch operations. What is meant by batch operations? How it happens? Actual batch operations is nothing but same work is done again and again but showing a different result every time. Same work is done again and again but showing a different result every time. So same work is done again means it should return same result every time, but no, it can return different result every time. So this technique you can implement by using this for, and you can easily handle the situations. For example, how it is used, I will show you. See, for that we will do one thing. So this sample I will give here. This is all given. This is which file? Same effects dot SASS. That is effects dot SASS. Okay. Now see here. Let's clean up this. Let's go to HTML. Here in HTML, let's put a div. Div. Okay. And in that we have an image. Image source is public images and some jacket.png. So width is 100, height is also 100. Like this we configured. Okay. Now what we are doing like this, we will keep copy 2, 3, 4, 5 images are there. Suppose here we have backpack. Here we have like shoe. Here we have like so neckband, and here we have like shoe one. Some images are there. Okay, and all these are kept in divs. These are all the images we are having. Now see what I am doing here is I am giving so the effects. So I will keep a not style here. Just we will put one style also here. We will put div. So border as so 1 pixel solid. So end up black. Okay, black. Okay, and I will keep width as 100 pixel. So that will be better for those divs we are having this. These are all the pictures we are having kept in a div. Now see here, all these divs with pictures have a class called box1, and here we have a class called box2. We have a class box3, and we have a class box4, and we have the class box5. Now you learned a lot of CSS selectors and all. Can you tell me how to access all these boxes? I cannot use div because div can be used by somebody else. How to access all these boxes? How to access all these boxes? So how we can access all these boxes? In CSS we have to access. In CSS we have to access. I cannot give same class name because I want different effects for every box. I want to access all boxes but give different effects for them. So same name. Understood? If they have same name, they will have same effects. Question understood, everyone? That means we need to access all of them and apply different effects. Access all of them and apply different effects. There is no common between them. Okay, little there. What is all have a word called box. Box and hyphen. After that, number is incrementing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 number is incrementing. So see now what we can do here. So technically now we can do is see. That means how we can manage here. So here we will go to the effects, and what we will do is here I will define so some margin. Okay. So margin I given as suppose how many pixels margin we are giving. Suppose you don't need margin also. This is base margin. Okay. Margin is suppose I will give as 100 pixels. That is the margin. Actually, we don't need this also. Directly we will apply. See, first step is now we need to write here a simple iterator to access all of them. Generally means I will tell you a simple programming logic actually. Programming logic is suppose I want to print 1 to 5 numbers. 1 to 5 numbers. I want to print 1 to 5 numbers. And I have A. After A, I want 5. And everyone should be incremented. A starts with 1. Then B should be A plus 1. C will be B plus 1. Understood? And D will be C plus 1. And E will be D plus 1. If I do like this, if I do like this, A value is 1, B value is 2, C value is 3, D value is 4, and E value is 5. That means every time how much you are incrementing? Every time how much you are incrementing? 1. To the existing value, you are incrementing 1 every time. Until from where to start, where to end? Start from 1 and stop at 5. Every time, so start from 1 and stop at 5. Every time increment by 1. Every time increment by 1, stop at 5. And whatever the value comes, so you can use that value now. Actually, see, when you go into JavaScript, I will show you detailed concepts, looping and all these things. As of now, you don't need to put that much brain. Simple. Here you see here, we have to write for whatever value comes, that must be stored in a variable. So I will use $I, that is variable. Okay. From starting with 1 through 5. From starting 1 through 5. That means here how many are there? Boxes? 5. That means starting from 1 through 5. What through will do is, after 1, for the second one it will increase plus 1. After second one it will increase plus 1. Through is used to increase 1. Increase 1. Okay. After that, what we have to do is, we have to access here. That means now this one will be stored in I. After that, 2 will be stored in I. After that, 3 will be stored in I. After that, 4. After that, 5. After 5 stored in I, it will stop. That means I will start from 1 to 5. 1 to 5, what it should do is access the box. Hyphen, we need to add this dynamic value to this string. To concatenate any dynamic value to a string, you have to use hash curly brace. Hash curly brace. If you want any dynamic value, then you have to use hash curly brace. There we have to access $I. That means $I contains how much? 1. That means this will be how much? Box 1. Box 1, I am giving margin left. Left margin, I am giving, so how much you want to define. Suppose I will give here, so 1 means $I into 100. Understood? $I into 100. That means what is $I first? 1. 1 into 100 means how much? 100. That means box 1 left margin will be how much? 100. Okay, this is finished. After it is finished, second round. In the second round, now it will shift from 1 to 2. That means our I value will be how much? 2. That means box of 2. Box 2 na? Box 2 margin left how much? Margin left 2 into 100 means 200. That means for first box left margin is 100. Second box left margin is 200. Third box 300. Fourth box 400. Five box 500. Same work is done every time, but result is different. Same work is done every time, but result is different. Now you see here, actually, we will compile this now. We will compile this and see the output. So the output, we have to apply for the boxes. And here still what is problem? You see what CSS generated? Pixels is not there. That is the problem. The problem is nothing but not 300. So this is 100 and we have to use px na. Otherwise it will not take the pixels. Now you can see it will be like this. That means it is adding your values in this way. That means from the existing position we are shifting it 100 100 pixels. Actually, to do this in actual CSS there is no special selector. We have to write like this. You see, in CSS, you have to write like this. Separately, you have to write box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5. You have to write. There is no other chance. Right? No attribute selector, no child selector, nothing is there. In CSS, nothing is there. You have to write individually. Then if I have to adjust that for every element, then again I have to change everywhere. But now you can simply handle with one small logic. We can handle simply by using a simple logic here. We can apply so many things. I'm just using this. You can apply colors, you can apply fonts, you can apply size. Suppose I have a heading, gradually font size should increase. Right? That means, for example, suppose we have some text here. Let's keep some text here. In this page, suppose we have some text. I'm giving P. So this is para 1. So another V, this is para 2. Another P, this is para 3. Now see here, they have a class. What is it? The class is para 1. Another one is class. So this is para 2. another is class para 3. And what we are doing here, so in this CSS we are accessing dot para and hyphen hash. We have to use dollar I, and we have to keep size font size. We are giving the font size equal to what we are giving. So suppose 20 into 20 pixel into what, $I. That's how we are increasing the font size for the contents. Now you can see paragraphs will be gradually increasing the size. Actually, this is how the heading 1 to 6 levels are decreasing. You may be thinking like, if I write H2, how it changes its size automatically. If I write H3, how it changes shorter. Because inbuilt in the backend, for that they have written the logic. Right? You are just using a program which is already written with such kind of logics. HTML is already built with certain logics. In HTML, so many things are built with such logics. That is the reason you may be thinking like, if I just use align equal to center, how it will come center? Right? It will come. Actually, in the background, there is a program which is calculating width and height, and according to width, it is moving pixels and keeping it center. That means in the background, every technology has a lot of programming happening, right? You are just using it. You are writing HTML and you are programmer, but there is a person who designed HTML for you, right? There is a person who designed HTML for you, and if you put P, automatically it will put one line below. It will put, somebody written program for that. If I say input type as date, you see, already told you that actually, suppose I just given here, I said input type is, if I say input type is equal to date, automatically a calendar will come. How a calendar will come? Automatically, how a calendar will come? So how the calendar will open? When I click this button, then calendar will open. When I select a value, then it will close and it will take the value. Without programming, how it will work? That means there is some programming written for it. You can see, actually, see here, I will go to the settings of browser. Browser settings will be there. Go to deep developer tools. Inspect is there, na? In inspect, what you can do is, you see here, there is settings button. In the settings button, you will find an option called shadow dome. Actually, normally in your computers, it is not selected. Shadow dome is not selected. Observe carefully. If shadow dome is not selected, you may be thinking like, see, date is just one line. You can see here, input type date is just one line. Just only one line and one option is there, input type date. But open this settings and see the shadow dome. You select shadow dome and close it. You see now, this input type is designed with so much logic. That date is designed with so much. You are after all using it. And you are thinking that you are a programmer. Right? You are after all a programmer who are using the programs designed by an architect. These people are architects. These are real programmers. These are genius. These are architects. That means they developed some option for you and given to you. You after all using it and putting on the screen, right? Even generally people learn Java, .NET like that. So in Java, .NET technologies, they think that Java developer, I am big programmer. But for him, they developed Java, he is great. The person who developed that is great. He developed in such a way that it is working in that particular requirement. What developer is doing, developer is building application with whatever library is given to him. That library is built by some developer. That person is genius. That person is genius. His skill levels are extraordinary because he designed such things and given to us. You are just using them. You are using them. That means even Java developers, .NET developers are not great programmers. The people who built library for them are great programmers, right? They built it and given to them. That is the reason even Java programmer, .NET programmer, if they get any errors, they go Google and say this is the error coming. Then those architects will post answer saying that you try this way, it will work, right? Because they know how they designed it. So these kind of things you need to know. This is actually in, you learned about DOM now. I told you about DOM, document object model. Under DOM there will be a shadow DOM. That shadow DOM you will learn in JavaScript. So if you can do that shadow DOM, you can build your own button. A button is designed for you. You can design something like button by yourself, right? With your own height, with your own width, with your own pictures, colors, you can design your own button. Many times people ask this question, sir, in HTML we have buttons, text boxes, can we build something like that? Of course you can build. We call them as web components. We call them as web components. Web components are the components which are you are using in HTML. Input type text, input type button, all these are web components. So if anybody asks like, can I build something like that? You can build. For that you need good skills of JavaScript, you can do that. We call that concept as components, web components. And behind that, all these kind of interactions are there. That means how the effects will work. For that, we have to use a lot of looping statements, conditions, combinations we have to define. So gradually while working with JavaScript, CSS combinations, you will understand more features, more advantages of this technique. Okay. As of now, it is a simple technique. How to write this for syntactically, we have to write like this. At the net, for we have to define a variable. This variable is going to keep tracking the value. So from, you have to use the word from, start point, start point to through, end point. You have to define end point and what actions to perform you can tell. Remember, it is not necessary that you have to start from one, because sometimes I want to apply from box 5 to 10. Then what we have to do, start point is 5 through 10. I don't want to apply to first 5 boxes. I have to apply to that. That is how we can configure. Technically, these are combinations used actually. So that means you can define for, so $I and from some 1 through some 10. Like this I am defining and what effects you want. And here very important is dynamic expressions. Dynamic expressions are defined. Dynamic expressions are defined by using, dynamic expressions are defined by using hash curly brace. That means you have a string, to that you want to add anything, then you can just use hash and you can define a variable here. Directly, if you define a variable, it will combine that variable and string with normal string type. but you have to get this dynamic value and apply that. So that means to this string, this will be binded. That will be binded. Actually, we call this as binding expression, hash curly brace. It is called data binding expression. Data binding expression. In different technologies, different way will be there. Actually, JavaScript uses like this. This is JavaScript binding expression. Binding expression. And we have this curly brace. This is used in React binding expression. React binding expression. We have double curly brace. This is Angular binding expression. Angular binding expression. So different types of binding expression will be there. And this is SASS binding expression. SASS will do like this. So to bind any value, we have different techniques actually. So here we need to use these methods, this method. So here we have to get that value and display that value like this, hash this value. So this is one small example of how we can handle. So an example I will give here. So this is effects dot SCSS. In that only this, and we have home some HTML. Some HTML page. This is the code. I will copy that HTML page and define. This is the code. So this is generally conditions and iterations how we define and use in SASS. That makes the presentations more simple and easy. So they make the presentation more simple and easy, configuring the presentation simple and easy. Later, you will learn some more techniques once you start programming, right? As of now, you can just try these what we discuss. Now, another important in SASS, we have a function. We have a function and we have a mixin. Mixins and functions are important. Actually, what is difference between a function and mixin? These are very important for reusability. Functions and mixins are very important for reusability. Reusability means actually, if anybody asks what is purpose of function, it is used for refraction. It is used for refraction. It is used for refactor, like this. It is used for refactor. Actually, what is meant by refactor? Refactor is nothing but it is a technique. It is a technique of encapsulating a set of statements into an entity, encapsulating a set of statements into into an entity. What is advantage? You can reuse the logic without rewriting. That is advantage. And function and mixin both will do the same thing. Then what is difference? That means mixin. So what is difference is actually function returns a value. Function returns a value. And mixin is nothing but mixin. It is similar. It is similar to function. It is similar to function, but will not return value. Will not return value. I will tell you what does that means. We will see practically. Actually, what is function and what is mixin? Both are similar, but one return value, one without returning value. Actually, what is the point here? See, suppose I am writing here at the net mixin. We are writing mixin and mixin name. Any name for that mixin? Mixin is a why we call refractor. I will tell you. Suppose see here. Let me give you a good example for that. Means what is meant by refactor. For that, I need to add one statement here. JS file. Okay. See, actually, suppose we have some statements. Don't worry what I am writing, just see. So I am showing some programming concept here. So this is statement one. Okay. And like this, we have so many statements. 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to use these statements again and again and somewhere else. Then we cannot write them again and again. So that is what I told you. In real-time projects, we have a principle called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Then how to use these again if we don't write again? Then what you can do is select those lines. After selecting the lines, right click on the lines, right click on those lines. You will find an option called refactor. You see, refactor is there. You will find an option called refactor. This is refactor. Now I will show you, right click on it, select refactor. It is asking what extract to function, what name you want to give. Name is nothing but print statements, and enter. You can see it combined all these into one function, and it is calling that function. So when you call this function, automatically it returns this. You call this again, you call this print statements again, it will print again. That means any number of times you can do this again and again, again and again. This is called refactor. This technique is called refactor. So refactor means, refactor is a technique where you can keep some set of statements under one name, so that we can access and use any number of times. Any number of times. Not only here, we can use in another file also. Another file, somewhere else you need it, you can import and use it. That I will show you how to import. But as of now, see how to write such refactors. At the net mixin. Okay. The mixin name. Mixin name is, suppose I say image effect. The mixin name is image effect. Okay. What should be that image effect doing? You can do your work here. That means we can write for, right at the net for, we can write for inside that for $I. So from 1 through, so through 5, what we want to do, we want to access box hyphen hash $I, and we will put here. So what functionality, margin left, I am giving here as $I. Yeah, $I into how much? 100 pixel, like this I given. Now remember, this entire is present in one state, in one location. That means now when I compile in CSS, nothing will be generated. That means when I compile this, you see, when I compile this, the effects file is empty, because this function contains statements which will execute only when you want them. They will execute only when you want them. Only when you want them. So what I will do here is, what is the point now? Here, I will execute only when I want it. So what I will do here, I can use at the net include. By using include, you can access that mixin. The mixin name is image effect. The mixin name is image effect. We are accessing it. That means now these statements will execute. Now this is okay. How many times it will execute? How many times you given, it will execute those number of times. You see, I will execute. I called only once. You can see now. Now it is going to execute them. It is going to execute them and they will apply. Suppose I am calling one more time. That means at the net include image effect. I am calling one more time. The same thing I am calling one more time. One more time I am calling. And you can see that I am calling one more time and execute it. And you see now in the CSS file, box 1 2 3 4 5, again 1 2 3 4 5. How many times you call, it will come. But every time I don't want 1 2 3 4 5, you can change. You can change. What I can do is, you see here, what we can do here is, when you define a mixin, into the mixin, you can pass parameters. You can put here a dollar start and comma, you can put a dollar end, and one will be dollar start and through will be dollar end. That means how many boxes it will print, that you decide now. That means I want to apply this effect only to 3 boxes. Then what I will do, image effect start is from 1 and stop at 3. That means now what it will do is, it will take this value and put it here. That will be used as 1 and will be used here. That means when I compile this now, it will work only for 3 images. That's good. That means in some places you have 100 images, in some places 4 images, in some places 2 images, then you cannot put a standard value. In one page, I have to apply for 4 images. In another page, I want to apply for 10 images. In another place, I want to apply for 20 images. Then you cannot write again and again. Then you have to write in one way and you can apply any. This is reusability. So that means you created a mixin. Mixin allows you to reuse the statements without rewriting them in any location from any part. For example, I want to apply this from 3 to 5. I want to apply this to 3 to 5. That is the starting and ending. Then it will apply only to 3 to 5. It will not apply that effect to others. That depending on the situation, how you configure, right? So technically, we need to keep so many things. And very important, it again depends on various. That means inside this you can write conditions. Inside this we can write loops. For example, if I apply 3 to 5, what about 1 and 2? If I apply for 3 to 5, then what about 1 and 2? That means if starting is 3, then 1 and 2 should have different effect. 1 and 2 should have different effect. So that depends on how you want. That means what you can do here, you can write a condition at the net if again. What is the condition? If start, am I right? If start is greater than 3. If start is greater than or equal to 3, then what should happen? If start is greater than or equal to 3, then we have to access 1 and 2. Then we will write one more for here. Or you can directly access those boxes and put some effects. That means I will access, what is it? Box 1. What I will give here. So for the box 1, I will give some margin left, or I will keep this as a float left. Am I right? What about box 2? Box 2, I will give as what? Float right. Like this, we are using conditions. That means what it is doing, if it is greater than or equal to 3, that means it will apply different effect for others. First image will be left, second image will be right, these will be in the middle. We can write the conditions, we can write the loops, combination, anything we can configure. Suppose this starting value is 1 to 3. or so 1 to 2 only, starting is 1 to 2, then you can see that it is going to affect only these two. Others are not applied. For others, again, you can write one more condition. That means what I can do, this for loop, I can keep it for else clause. You can write an else now. In one else, another one if. That means you can put this, you can remove this part, and we can put an else. In else, we are writing this loop. We are writing that loop. That means it will apply in this way and it will display. Suppose I defined here the value changed. What is it? I am giving from 3. Am I right? 3 to how much? 5. From 3 to 5, I am changing. Then automatically others will be changing like this. But we don't want like that to happen. Depending on the situation, we can give, right? So this is just only to make you understand that lot of conditions can be defined. So this is the concept of reusability. You created a mixin which can take the parameters from you. You can pass the values, it will change depending on the situation, depending on the requirement, what content you are having. You can pass a value, it will apply. We don't want to apply to everyone, then we can decide which one to apply. So that is actually the concept of mixins. So technically, function is different. Function I will show you in another example. So you syntax, how do we configure the mixin? We have to use mixin, and we have to use a name. We have to use parameters, we call them parameters, and we need to give the statements. We have to use at the net include, and we need to access the name, and we have to pass the values for those parameters. We have to pass them. So this is an example. This is effects.scss. This is an example for that, how we can create a mixin and use it. So creating the mixins, configuring them and using them. Now, what is difference between mixin and function? HTML file is same, no change. HTML file is same, no change. The same HTML file, we changed this mixin and define. What is difference between mixin and function is, actually function can store, perform an operation and store result. Mixin can only perform operation. Function can work as two ways. Actually what function can do is, so function can do two things. It can perform the functionality. It can perform the functionality, and it can store the result. It can store the result. Actually, to perform functionality, we need a mixin, and to store the result, we need a variable. Now, here you can use the function memory as variable to store its result, so that we can directly use it. So these are very important to understand at JavaScript level actually. But I will just give an idea how it is used. Technically, you see here, so I will just give one more here. I am writing at the net function name, any name for the function. Same, it can have some values. For example, I will give the function name as set border. Set border is the function name. So what I do is, I will give the border value. That means it will take as size. Now when you call this set border, you pass some border size. What it has to do is, it should return, that means at the net return. So what it will return? It will return, so dollar size, it will return dollar size, and it will return as solid, and it will return red color. Like this it will return. That means what happens is, whenever you want to apply border, then you can call the function and pass a value. Automatically it will apply this effect. It will apply that effect. So that means, now see here, suppose we have a container, we have a div. right? We are accessing div. Okay. For the div, I want to set border. Then what we have to do? We have to call the function called set border. Into that, we need to pass here 2 pixel. That's how we do. Now, what this will do? It will return this result. It will return that result. That means what it is going to do when I compile this, you can see in the effects. So it is going to return a div with 2 pixel border, and that is applied to all our elements here. All our elements here. You can do a lot of work in that way. That means you can write a function. That function will perform the functionality and it will return the result. It will return the result. So that what is advantage? Whenever you want, you can call it and pass a new value. It will update it. Whenever you are calling the function, you tell what size you want, it will update it. Functions are directly accessed. We don't need include. Include is required only for mixins. Functions and important, mixin will not return. Mixin will perform the functionality, but function have to return. Function must return. It must return some value. That value you can use. That value you can use. These type of functions are good and important later when you are dealing with complex operations, right? As of now, the functions process is like this. We have to define a function and a name, and we have parameters. And what it should do, it should use an option return some value to return. By using the parameters, it can return the value. That is how we can define, right? Technically, this is the basic thing how we can handle the function. A small example I will give here, fx.scss, and how this is used. A small example is this function. Now, the main concept here is how we can reuse them across CSS. That means we use a technique called, I told you, bundling. Bundling. That means we can design multiple CSS files, bring all of them at one place, and use that logic at one place. It will reduce the number of requests. That for that we need to learn a separate technique that we'll see tomorrow, right? In tomorrow's session, we will finish this SASS part. Then we will go into Bootstrap now, and you will use SASS in a more better way while learning JavaScript and jQuery. Why? Because you need more programming skills. Then we can do more better examples. Actually, we don't teach this immediately after CSS. Just for your practice sake, I given, because we teach this after JavaScript, because lot of technical things will come here, which will be easy after learning JavaScript. But here, as of now, without JavaScript also you can practice this, but you can do better with the JavaScript combinations. So tomorrow we'll continue. We'll see how to use the bundling concept. Okay, right.